Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
In the last half hour, we have learned 3 of 4 teenagers who escaped a detention center have been located. Why authorities say the teen who is still on the run may be a threat to himself and the public.
We're also following more breaking news here in the WRAL Traffic Center. Major slowdown there in Cary on I-40 westbound. I'll get you more information about it and how to get around it.
And we have widespread 30s this morning across our viewing area. Frost advisory in the north and west. I'll show you what it will feel like as you step out the door now. Plus, you'll want to brace yourself for traffic jams in Raleigh this weekend as thousands of people head to the state fair. We'll tell you about 2 other events happening at the Lenovo Center that are also impacting travel. We are 4 hours away until the gates open at the North Carolina State Fair. It's the first day. We're so excited. We'll tell you about it coming up. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Chris Lovingit, and I think we have... We're Tuesday, right? Is that we're going to be there?
Yes, you and I are there Tuesday at 10:30.
10:30. I'll be here Saturday. A lot of the WRAL team are going to be there because we want to meet you. We want to say hello to you. And we want to say hello to Elizabeth Gardner. Elizabeth, when will you be there?
I will be there Wednesday and next Saturday. And, you know, we may end up with a completely dry fair forecast. Hopefully, I'm not going to jinx that. You know, it's kind of hard to say once you get past 7 days, but it just looks like we have a very dry pattern going forward. Beautiful sunrise here, looking gorgeous at RDU, 40 degrees currently. Our dew point's nice and dry at 38. Still a lot of 30s showing up on the map right now. 39 Goldsboro, Wilson, Rocky Mount, 34 in Henderson, 32 in Roxborough, 33 down in Siler City and Sanford, as well as Robbins. So it is a cold start out there this morning. Our temperatures in some places are about 5 to 10 degrees colder than this time yesterday. But we'll have a nice quick warm up into the afternoon. Temperatures will be in the upper 60s, lots of sunshine. If you're headed to the state fair after work, temperatures will still be in the 60s, but take along a jacket. It is going to be chilly. We're going to take a look at some football forecasts too for you coming up, Ken.
Hey, Elizabeth, we're following some breaking news here in the WRAL Traffic Center on I-40 westbound there in the Cary area. You can see the huge major slowdown it's causing. We're hearing from our friends at the state DOT that first responders are working a crash near Buck Jones Road. You can see the delays stretching all the way to the I-40 Wade Avenue split. You definitely want to avoid this area this hour of the morning. It's a situation where you're looking at maybe a 10 to 15 minute delay. I'm looking to see what kind of alternate routes you might be able to take. Right now, I'm not finding any that's going to really save you any time, but give me a chance. I'll continue to look for that for you. But many of you know exactly where you can go this time of the morning. You can see the huge backup it's causing here on the I-40 westbound there in the Cary area. So keep that in mind as you're about to head out. Definitely, maybe Highway 70, particularly if you're going to the Durham area, so you can get out of that traffic mess. Around the Beltline this morning, the Northern Loop, you're maybe looking at a 2 to 3 minute delay if you take the Northern Loop of the Beltline, and that's an alternate route to be honest with you, particularly if you're coming in from Garner or Johnston County. If you're getting ready to head out this morning, we've got you covered. We'll keep you posted on what's happening there in Cary on I-40, 101.5 HD3. You can listen to us anywhere in the Triangle. Those of you doing so right now, we appreciate that. You have a couple of other options at 99.3 FM in Raleigh and 96.5 FM in Durham.
Thanks, Ken. Breaking in the last hour, we received an update on the search for the 4 teenagers who police say escaped from a youth detention center in Rocky Mount. All but one of them has since been found. WRAL's Brittany shares where things stand right now as they continue to search for the remaining juvenile.
Rocky Mount police say they have located 3 of the 4 juveniles that escaped from the detention center last night. But they say that all 4 have a history of unpredictable behavior. That's why they're concerned for their safety and the public's safety. These are the 4 we're talking about. This is Quadarius H., Jaden W., Eric M., and David B. All 4 escaping last night from the detention center just before 7 p.m. Police telling us now that they have located 3 of them, but they have not said which 3 they've located. They were all wearing the standard detention center uniform, including khaki pants, a green polo, gray sweaters, and black shoes. The detention center not far from downtown Rocky Mount, just about 10 minutes north. I'm asking police how the 4 were able to pull off this escape in the first place and where the search is at this point. I'll continue to keep you updated. In Rocky Mount, Brittany, WRAL News.
Today, the Trump-Vance bus tour is making a stop in Wayne County. That's after it made a stop at the Wayne County Speedway yesterday, where supporters cheered on the GOP presidential candidate. As part of the bus tour, a team of Trump surrogates drummed up support for the former president and urged supporters to get to the polls. RNC Chairman Michael Whatley says North Carolina is a crucial battleground state. He says voters here help measure the nation's pulse.
We have rural voters, urban voters, suburban voters. We have minority voters. We've got everybody that you would think of that's going to be voting across the country is going to be voting here.
And they'll be cramming in as many stops as they can over the next 19 days with a focus on swing states. This afternoon at 3:30, the bus tour will make a stop at the Wayne County Republican Party headquarters. That's in Goldsboro.
Former President Bill Clinton will be in Fayetteville tonight campaigning for Vice President Kamala Harris. He'll travel to several other cities in North Carolina over the weekend. Clinton joined Tim Walz, the Minnesota governor, who is on the campaign ticket with Kamala Harris, and they campaigned in Durham. Walz went to Winston-Salem for another rally last night.
And today we'll get an update from the State Board of Elections about how many people turned out for the first day of early voting. There were long lines at polling locations all around the Triangle and across the state as in-person voting started early yesterday. Wayne County's elections director say that she expects it was a record first day turnout. Early voting sites will continue until Saturday, November 2nd.
This is the first presidential election in North Carolina in which you will have to show a photo ID when voting. You can show your driver's license, and other acceptable forms of ID include passports and student IDs. Registered voters who don't have a photo ID can get one for free at their county board of elections or at a DMV office. Here's the thing. If you don't have a photo ID, you can still vote in person. You'll just have to fill out an ID exception form. Today is the first full day of the State Fair, and the gates will open in less than an hour for thousands of people, where they will make their way to the fairgrounds to enjoy the food and the attractions. WRAL's Heidi Kirk joins us live from the Lenovo Center. And Heidi, the State Fair and another event this weekend mean possible traffic trouble for drivers.
Well, Chris, good morning. It's quiet out here at the Lenovo Center right now, but that will not be the case in actually just hours from now. Not only are people coming to town for the North Carolina State Fair, but there's also several events this weekend and next weekend here at this center that's going to bring a lot of people to the Triangle. Let's get straight to those events that are happening this weekend. So first off, starting at 7 p.m. tonight, the center is hosting comedian Jeff Dunham. Tomorrow, we're expecting a full capacity crowd for Sabrina Carpenter, also starting at 7. Now, if you're attending any of these events, whether it's the fair or either of these shows, you're urged to plan ahead for traffic delays. Now, here's what you can do. Make a plan on how you're going to get here, carpool if you can, and arrive as early as you can to navigate any of those challenges. Now, the Lenovo Center parking lots will open 4 hours before each event and are reserved for event attendees. Now, you should know that doors will open 1 hour before each event. And it's also worth noting that the Canes and NC State are both on the road this weekend and next, so you won't have to worry about those parking and traffic challenges on top of everything else. We have lots of information on WRAL.com on how you can navigate it this weekend and throughout the remainder of the State Fair. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And this morning, we are waiting to see the official count of how many people walked through the gates of the State Fair on day one. Today, state officials will hold the official opening ceremony. Agriculture Commissioner Steve Troxler will cut the ribbon to officially open the 156th State Fair. Nearly 40,000 attendees came out on opening day last year. We'll see if North Carolinians manage to top that this year. And you have a chance to meet members of the WRAL team at the State Fair. Look for us in our usual spot on the northeast side of Dorton Arena. Today you can catch Jeff and Renee from 10:30 to 11:30 and then meet Dan Haggerty and Carly Haynes. They will be there from 2 to 3.
Go Triangle is getting $800,000 for Eastern Wake Transit expansion in the fiscal year 2024's funding package. That money will be used to build 10 new bus stops and support expanded transit services at Wendell and Zebulon. It will also improve pedestrian infrastructure, according to officials. An event will be held in front of the Zebulon Town Hall. That is at 10 this morning, 2 hours from now, and there will be an announcement of the new funding package. Your time is 8:09. A controversial execution of a Texas inmate. It's now on hold. Hear why this historic move from the State House Committee is giving Robert Roberson the chance to prove his innocence.
Plus, there are new measures in place to keep teens safe online. How Meta is working to protect teens from sextortion.
And it's a chilly start. A lot of folks still in the 30s this morning, but we'll climb to almost 70 this afternoon. And then a nice warm up through the weekend and into early next week. It is a dry 7-day forecast. I'll show you how we're looking in terms of our October rainfall coming up.
Check out this beautiful view of White Lake this morning as the sun is shining, blue skies. It is a beautiful Friday, but if you're going anywhere outside today, definitely bring the jacket because it's another cool morning, but it's going to be a little more milder today than it was yesterday. It's going to be nice, Elizabeth.
We're going to see temperatures almost to 70 this afternoon and then 70s after that through the weekend and beyond. It's a pretty start this morning. Take a live look at Fayetteville and Raleigh, Apex, Chapel Hill, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. Not a cloud in sight. So today will be dry. So will tomorrow and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday and probably Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. We have a very dry stretch of weather in our forecast. Most of that is because of this high pressure system. High pressure systems have sinking air. It tends to dry out the atmosphere. Highs often work as a blocking mechanism as well. And so that's what's going to happen here. Up until next Thursday, that high is just going to sit here and deflect all the fronts that might head our way. That will allow our temperatures to warm up a little bit. And of course, it will keep us dry. And you know, it's been a pretty dry month. We've only had 2/100ths of an inch of rain at RDU and 1/100th in Fayetteville. So we're at almost 2 inches behind for the month. But you know, it was so wet for July, August, and September. 9 inches in July, almost 9 in August, a little over 12.5 in September. So here we are all of a sudden with very little rain in October. October right now is on track for the 3rd driest at RDU. However, year to date, we're on track for the 2nd wettest at RDU. So kind of a crazy year. October is often fairly dry for us, and it looks like that trend will continue potentially at least for the next week or so. Frost advisory, our northern and western counties, and then we still have some 30s out there. 39 in Lewisburg, 39 Rocky Mount and Wilson, 34 Siler City, 32 in Roxborough. We had a number of spots that were down near freezing. Some of those were Sanford and Robbins, starting to warm up a touch there, but definitely some very cool temperatures out there this morning and some patchy frost. A lovely fall day though, with lots of sunshine, a little breezy, but not as windy as yesterday. Highs climb up into the upper 60s to near 70. Not quite as cold overnight tonight. We'll mostly be in the low to mid 40s. There may be some pockets, say Roxborough or Sanford, where we drop it down into the mid 30s, but we'll have a much lesser chance for any frost tomorrow morning. Florida State plays Duke tonight. Temperature at 6 o'clock, 64 degrees. I take the field at 7. The game will be mostly in the 50s, so make sure you bring something to keep you warm. At the State Fair in the afternoons, it looks nice. Again, 69 for today, then 72 Saturday and 74 on Sunday. But when that sun goes down, it definitely feels chilly. The place that we're watching now in the Caribbean is down here near the Yucatan Peninsula. About a 50% chance that that system would develop, but if it does, it's going to move inland and likely dissipate fairly quickly. The middle of next week, our temperatures climb back above normal. Look at that, almost 80 degrees by the middle of next week, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, we continue to follow breaking news in Cary, particularly on I-40 and those westbound lanes. Here's the exact spot we're talking about. It starts at about Buck Jones Road and stretches all the way back to the I-40 Wade Avenue split. We're hearing from our friends at the state DOT that at least one lane is blocked as a result of this crash, and you can see the delays that it's causing there on those westbound lanes of I-40 in Cary. We'll keep an eye on it and let you know how it's going to continue to affect your morning commute. Elsewhere around the Beltline this morning, we're seeing this northeastern loop of the Beltline a little congested this morning. That's actually the southeastern loop of the Beltline, a little congested this morning, but nothing that's going to make you too late, maybe a 3 to 5 minute delay. Boy, the northern loops look pretty good. If you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, avoid this area right here. Just take the northern loop. That'll get you to all points west, and that's a good thing this morning. Here's what we're talking about. That far lane, that's really the lane where people are trying to get onto Wade Avenue and then get onto I-40 West. But the other two lanes, that will get you to all the westbound lanes. The inner two lanes will get you there in no time at all. You just make sure you know that as you're getting ready to head out. Hey, 101.5 HD3 is the place to listen to us on the radio. If you're doing that, we appreciate that. You can listen to us anywhere in the Triangle.
A federal judge ordered the Afghani man arrested by the FBI in Oklahoma City that he has to stay in custody while authorities investigate his case. Talking about Nasir Ahmad Tawedi. He'll stay in federal custody until his trial. The FBI agents say that he was working with ISIS on a plot to attack an election day crowd. According to an FBI special agent, 27-year-old Tuwaidy took steps to get AK-47s and ammunition for this attack.
A Texas inmate is alive this morning after his planned execution was stopped just 90 minutes before it was supposed to happen. A judge granted a last-minute restraining order last night. Robert Robertson claims that he was wrongfully convicted of abusing and killing his 2-year-old daughter through shaken baby syndrome. Robertson was subpoenaed to testify on October 21st about his case, resulting in the pause in his execution. The state is appealing the judge's decision. If Robertson is executed, he will be the first person in the U.S. executed for a death by shaken baby syndrome.
This morning, we are hearing from One Direction member Niall Horan after the death of Liam Payne. He shared this photo to Instagram this morning. It showed him and Payne when they were younger. He also shared a message saying that he is, quote, absolutely devastated and that he cherished the bond and friendship they had. He also mentions seeing Payne before he died. At the time of his death, Payne was in Argentina to see Horan on tour. Fellow One Direction members Harry Styles and Louis Tomlinson also posted memories of Payne.
We are learning new details about that bridge collapse in Mississippi that killed 3 people and hurt 4 others. It collapsed while a work crew was prepping the bridge for demolition. Drone video shows a bird's eye view of that collapsed bridge. You can see where the concrete crumbled, the damaged crane, and an excavator laying on its side. A man was in that excavator when that bridge collapsed. He is in the hospital recovering from his injuries.
It has been 3 weeks since Helene hit western North Carolina, and families are still looking for their missing loved ones. A Lee County family is asking for help in finding Kim Ashby. She was last seen after the floodwaters from Helene carried away her home in Elk Park. Her husband was found alive days later, just 2 miles away, and the family is asking people who are familiar with the area to help them now that the search team is completely made up of volunteers. Kim's daughter, Jessica, no longer believes her mother is alive, but she still wants closure.
I don't think any of us have a lot of hope for that. I know I can really only speak for myself, and I know that I don't have hardly any hope for that. But you can't help but have those daydreams that bring you a positive result, right? And so I know that somewhere within me, I still have that hope, and that's just because we haven't found her body yet.
You can reach out to Jessica on Facebook to get more information.
Keeping kids safe online is top of mind for many parents, and Meta is stepping in to help with that. As Savannah Sellers reports, it's a new feature to protect teens from blackmail on Instagram.
Meta unveiling new protections on Instagram to combat sextortion. That's when a criminal coerces someone into sending explicit images and then threatens to spread them unless they're paid.
Here's how to take control of the situation if you need help.
The company placing this PSA in Instagram feeds and launching new features to protect against accounts with, quote, scammy behavior. Meta says it will make it harder for suspicious accounts to request to follow teens, and users will be notified if the account they are messaging with is in another country. Antigone Davis is the head of global safety at Meta.
This crime has evolved. This is why we think it's so important to educate people in this area.
Are these measures being put in place to inform teens that sextortion is happening on the platform, or to try to stop it on the platform in the first place?
First and foremost, we want to stop it on the platform, but it's both. We want to make sure that teens have the information that they need, because these are adversarial actors. They're going to try to get around the protections that we put in place.
That sounds like an acknowledgement, though, that Meta does not have a handle on it.
No, what I would say is we've put in place built-in protections, but we're dealing with adversarial criminal actors.
Criminal actors targeting American teens.
That was Savannah Sellers reporting.
Teenage smoking and tobacco use hit an all-time low in 2024. This is information coming to a new prevention survey from the CDC. That survey shows a 20% drop in teenagers using at least one tobacco-related product. This includes cigarettes, electronic cigarettes, nicotine pouches, and hookahs. Health officials say that tobacco prices that increased and public health campaigns are helping drop those rates.
The White House highlighted National Mammography Day and Breast Cancer Awareness Month by illuminating the building in pink. National Mammography Day is observed yearly on the third Friday in October as part of National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. President Bill Clinton proclaimed this national day back in 1993. It's a reminder for all women that their best defense is early detection. Remember that. And coming up, the state attorney general is expected to make an announcement about robocalls today. What Josh Stein is saying about the effort to stop spam dials from ringing your line.
Plus, 4 teenagers that police say escaped from a detention center in Rocky Mount. At least 3 of them have been recaptured. We'll talk about the latest information and the ongoing search for that last person.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio in Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Friday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. We still have a frost advisory, but temperatures are going to warm up nicely today, Elizabeth.
They are. That frost advisory expires in about 30 minutes. But interestingly enough, we still have a lot of spots in the 30s this morning. We take a live look at Apex. Beautiful sunshine. That sunshine is going to warm us up nicely to around 70 this afternoon. But right now, it is 39 in Lewisburg and in Tarboro, 39 in Southern Pines, 39 in Rocky Mount, but 43 in South Hill, 45 in Goldsboro, 40 degrees currently in Fayetteville. Checking your exercise forecast. It's pretty chilly out there this morning, but by lunchtime, we climb to 62, and we'll hold it in the 60s through the afternoon, almost 70 degrees. This evening, we drop back into the 50s fairly quickly, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. Some good news to report concerning that crash we've been monitoring there in Cary on I-40 westbound. We just got a report from our friends at the state DOT that crash has cleared, and you can see that it's completely cleared up right now. Let's take you outside and give you a live look at I-40 and near NC 54 there in Cary. You can see traffic beginning to flow nicely in all directions. If you're getting ready to head out this morning, listen to us on the radio 101.5 HD3. You can listen to us anywhere in the triangle. I'll have another update at the bottom of the hour over in Fox 50.
Thanks, Ken. 3 out of the 4 teens who escaped from a youth detention in Rocky Mount have been located. Police are still searching for the 4th. He was wearing khaki pants, green polo-style shirt, gray sweater, and black shoes. We are working to learn more about their recapture. And coming up next on Fox 50, how the State Fair and 2 other major events could impact travel in Raleigh this weekend. And coming up next on Today, Kylie Minogue on new music and her first U.S. arena tour.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking right now this morning, 3 of 4 teens who escaped a detention center in Rocky Mount have been located. The warning authorities have for the public as they still search for the 4th.
And the frost advisory is still in effect for another 30 minutes. I'll show you where temperatures are still in the 30s as you step out the door.
Plus today, it is the first full day of the NC State Fair, and thousands of people will be headed to Raleigh this weekend. We're going to tell you about 2 other events happening in the area that could cause some traffic trouble for you. It's the State Fair. It's already busy, but more events. Well, it's just going to be a lot of traffic jams.
I know. I'm going to see Little Big Town next weekend,
that's right.
Next Friday night. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
It's
a lot
going to be
of traffic.
a lot of traffic. Hey, thanks for joining us here on WRAL News and Fox 50. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. We'll talk all things fair, all things Lenovo events coming up. But first, we have to get over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. I mean, look at that sky. It's beautiful.
It is. It's gorgeous. We're looking at this all across the viewing area. Yesterday, we had a little bit of cloud cover, and that kept our temperatures a little warmer. It acts as an insulating blanket, but none of that today. So it's been chilly. We have held it right around 40 degrees in the Triangle area this morning. Our dew point's nice and low, so very dry air mass in place. But there are still a lot of towns in the 30s. 32 still in Roxborough, 37 in Henderson, 39 in Lewisburg, Rocky Mount, and Wilson, 34 in Siler City. We've had a number of spots really close to or at freezing, particularly Sanford and Robbins, as well as Rayford, Southern Pines. Smithfield's still at 37. So definitely some smattering of frost across the area this morning. And it was noticeably cooler than yesterday and a lot lot of places, some places 5 to 10 degrees cooler than yesterday. NC State Fair planner, it's really going to be a good one. A little bit chilly out there. You probably want to keep that jacket handy. 62 at lunchtime, a high of nearly 70. If you're going to be out there after work this evening, temperatures will be dropping into the 50s pretty quickly. We're going to talk about some football forecasts for you too coming up, Kent.
Elizabeth, some good news to report. That crash that we've been following there in Cary and I-40 westbound. We're getting reports that it's all cleared up this morning. It was really right here. It was causing a huge delay around Buck Jones Road all the way to the I-40 Wade Avenue split, completely cleared up in the last 20 minutes or so. And you can see it right here from our cameras at I-40 and Highway 54 this morning. Traffic flowing nicely in both directions. So if you're heading out, that's part of your morning commute, you're good to go this morning. We got a couple other incidents to tell you about this morning, just in case you have to navigate this area. There's a crash on Six Forks Road in the eastbound lane near Atlantic Avenue. We're not picking up any problems in the area, but just watch for some police activity and be mindful of that as you go through that intersection. Over in Cary, we've got this crash on Kildare Farm Road in the southbound lane. That's near the southeast Maynard Road. And of course, Maynard is the loop that surrounds Cary this morning. Again, we're not seeing any problems in that particular area. We are seeing a little bit of a slowdown there on Southeast Maynard Road, but you're probably looking at maybe a 3 to 5 minute delay, if that at all. But listen, if you're getting ready to head out this morning, listen to us on the radio at 101.5 HD3. You have a couple of other options as well. If you're not sure you have 101.5 HD3, 99.3 FM in Raleigh and 96.5 FM in Durham.
Ken, thanks. We do want to get back to that breaking news within the last hour. We have learned that regarding the search of the 4 teenagers police say escaped from a youth detention center in Rocky Mount, all but one of them have since been found. WRAL's Brett Neese shares where things stand now as the search is on for that last person.
Rocky Mount police say they have located 3 of the 4 juveniles that escaped from the detention center last night. But they say that all 4 have a history of unpredictable behavior. That's why they're concerned for their safety and the public's safety. These are the 4 we're talking about. This is Quadarius H., Jaden W., Eric M., and David B. All 4 escaping last night from the detention center just before 7 p.m. Police telling us now that they have located 3 of them, but they have not said which 3 they've located. They were all wearing the standard detention center uniform, including khaki pants, a green polo, gray sweaters, and black shoes. The detention center not far from downtown Rocky Mount, just about 10 minutes north. I'm asking police how the 4 were able to pull off this escape in the first place and where the search is at this point. I'll continue to keep you updated. In Rocky Mount, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
A man accused of cyber stalking 15 people, including the Lee County Sheriff, is now in jail without bond. John McDonald is accused of cyber stalking Sheriff Brian Estes, members of his office, members of the Broadway Police Department, and others. A judge lowered McDonald's bond as he was able to get out of jail. Yesterday, a 15th person came forward with accusations of cyber stalking, and McDonald was arrested at his home. This morning, he faces charges, including felony extortion.
Time is 8:35. Today, we will get an update from the State Board of Elections about how many people showed up for the first day of early voting. There were long lines at polling locations all across the Triangle and the state as in-person voting started yesterday. The Wake County Elections Director says that she expects it to be actually a record first day turnout once we get those numbers. Early voting sites will continue until Saturday, November 2nd.
And this is the first presidential election in North Carolina in which you will have to show a photo ID when you go to vote. You can show your driver's license, and other acceptable forms of ID include passports and student IDs. Now, registered voters who don't have a photo ID on them can get one for free at their county board of elections or at a DMV office. And voters without a photo ID can still vote in person. They just have to file an ID exception form out. And make sure you plan your vote with the WRAL voter guide. Enter your address to find a sample ballot, our Q&A with candidates to check your voter registration and early voting times and places. You can find it all on WRAL.com. Just search vote.
This morning, we expect an update on the statewide effort to reduce robocalls and unwanted spam calls. Attorney General Josh Stein is set to make an announcement this morning. That is at 9:30, just about an hour from now. That'll happen at the Department of Justice building in Raleigh. Stein leads a nationwide group of 51 attorneys general, part of an anti-robocall litigation task force.
And Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center. I want to show you a video of President Biden just moments ago. He spoke with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, delivering remarks in Berlin, Germany. In those remarks, he talked about the need to remain united in support of Ukraine and the death of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar as well. He said, quote, "The death of the leader of Hamas represents a moment of justice. He had the blood of Americans and Israelis, Palestinians and Germans and so many others on his hands." Now, all this comes as a new release came out just moments ago from a top Hamas official confirming Sinwar's death. This is the earliest that this has come out now that Hamas officials are admitting to this. Hezbollah also vowing to up its phase of war with Israel. And also they're saying that the hostages will not be returned until the aggression on Gaza ends.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Today is the first full day of the North Carolina State Fair. In less than 30 minutes, thousands of people will make their way to the fairgrounds to enjoy the food and the attractions. And WRAL's Heidi Kirk shares there are two other big events happening at the Lenovo Center that could cause traffic issues for drivers.
It's going to be an action-packed weekend around the Triangle for several reasons. Not only are people filing in for the State Fair this weekend, but there's also several events here at the Lenovo Center. Let's get straight to the schedule. Tonight, there will be comedian Jeff Dunham performing at 7 p.m. And tomorrow, a full-capacity crowd is expected for Sabrina Carpenter, also starting at 7. Now, if you're attending any of these events, you are urged to plan for traffic delays. Here's what you can do. Make a plan on how you're going to get here, carpool if possible, and arrive as early as you can. Now, the Lenovo Center parking lots will open about 4 hours before each event and are reserved for event attendees only. Now, doors will open 1 hour before the event. Now, it's worth noting that both NC State and the Canes are out of town this weekend and next. We have lots of information on WRAL.com on how you can navigate those parking and traffic challenges. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And this morning, we are waiting to see the official count of how many people walked through the gates of the State Fair on opening day. Today, state leaders will hold the official opening ceremony. Agriculture Commissioner Steve Troxler will cut the ribbon to officially open the 156th State Fair. NC State students arrived as a pack for Wolfpack Day, and this allowed them for a discounted price. This year's theme, Homegrown Happiness, proves to have something for everyone.
The food, the rides, the vibes, all of it. I love it.
She loves it. Nearly 40,000 people showed up for opening day last year, Michelle.
That's amazing. And it was a special night inside the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. Saints legend Drew Brees entered the team's Hall of Fame. Such a special moment for him. Brees was the quarterback who led the Saints to their only Super Bowl championship back in 2010. He also led the Saints to two other NFC championship games.
But there was little else for Saints fans to cheer for once the game against the Denver Broncos started. Sean Payton returned to New Orleans for the first time since stepping down 2 years ago. He was the coach back when Drew Brees took them to the Super Bowl and left with a 33-10 victory for the Broncos.
Well, Fox 50 and WRAL are your home for the NFL's Week 7 on Sunday at 1 o'clock on Fox 50. It's a huge NFC North battle between the Lions and the Vikings. And right after that at 4:25, a Super Bowl rematch between the Chiefs and the 49ers. And then turn it over to WRAL for Sunday Night Football. The New York Jets will be in Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. Kickoff is at 8:20.
Your time is 8:40. Local politics might play a larger role for home buying than initially thought. We'll talk about the new study that shows how a neighborhood votes is important to most buyers.
Plus, a downtown Halloween celebration, what you need to know about the Raleigh Zombie Walk and others, and you're out and about for your weekend best bets.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Look at this beautiful blue sky we have above Chapel Hill this morning. People outside likely wearing a nice flannel jacket or jacket of sort. I guess it doesn't have to be flannel, maybe something light, just not shorts, though we have been seeing that's a trend this morning, Elizabeth. People still aren't deterred by the chilly weather waking up.
Yeah, it's funny, Chris. I find, having lived in North Carolina for a long time, even in February when it's 30 degrees out, people are walking around in shorts and T-shirts, totally in denial. It looks beautiful out there, though, doesn't it? Just gorgeous here at RDU. Nothing but blue sky, and we're seeing that all across the viewing area. We're sitting at 40 degrees. It didn't get much colder than that here at RDU, but we saw a lot of temperatures in the 30s this morning in other places. We also saw a great big moon out there, too. It was full night before last. Keith Kennedy sent us this photo, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. So we'd love to see your Weather Watcher photos. Go to WRAL.com, search Weather Watchers, and we'll put a few of those on TV. We're still in the 30s in a lot of places. 39 in Wilson and Rocky Mounts, 37 in Roanoke Rapids, 34 in Roxborough. We dropped down to 32 in Roxborough before maybe a couple of hours ago. So depending on where you are, as you're heading out the door, you might still see a little frost on your windshield. 37 now in Siler City. It's 36 in Sanford, 37 in Robbins, 40 in Fayetteville, 41 in Smithfield. So for the most part, we're above freezing at this point. But again, it's going to be a little bit of a slow warm up, even with all that sunshine. We'll see another cold night tonight, but not quite as cold. Our temperatures, again, we had widespread 30s this morning. Will be more widespread 40s, mostly low to mid 40s. There'll be a couple of pockets of 30s, upper 30s for Roxborough and Clarksville, but looking at 40 degrees or 42, 43 across much of the remainder of the viewing area. Robbins and Sanford might dip into the upper 30s, but 41 in Southern Pines, 42 Irwin and in Smithfield. So that's still really chilly. So we're not likely to see frost. It will be unlikely for tonight across most of the viewing area, but our temperatures are going to stay chilly. I mean, all the way into early next week, our morning lows will be in the mid 40s. This high pressure system is keeping things dry for us, and it's going to pretty much stay there. We're going to have a couple of cold fronts back to the west that kind of bump into this and just aren't able to make any forward progress because that front will hit the high, which is stalled there, and that high will keep us nice and dry and sunny and allow our temperatures to warm up a little bit. At the State Fair at 9 a.m., if you're headed out there here shortly, temperatures, of course, we're still in the mid 40s for the most part. Lunchtime 62. After work today, and it's a Friday, a lot of folks are going to be headed out to the fair. Temperatures will be in the 50s, and it'll be a cool evening. Our high this afternoon, 69, and then the weekend looks beautiful. 72 on Saturday, 74 on Sunday. So whatever you're doing, even if it isn't the State Fair, try to get outside and enjoy this pretty weather. It does continue into next week, and right now there is no rain in that 7-day forecast.
That looks good. Thanks, Elizabeth. Well, this year's election could have an impact on where people want to live. A poll from Realtor.com shows 23% of potential first-time homebuyers are waiting to see where they will live until after the election in November. And nearly 2/3 of respondents say local and national politics are at least slightly influential for where they live. The company says politics is important considerations for homebuyers because it helps them find a place where they will feel comfortable in their community. Chris is dancing. From music.
That song, it's right up in my head, I'm telling you.
I know. From music to some spooky festivities, we have you covered on all of the best events that are happening this weekend.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start a little bit with a pop group that soared to fame in the 1960s, making a stop in the Triangle. The Temptations and the Four Tops will be performing this weekend at the D-PAC. That is incredible. The show is Sunday night at 7, and tickets are still available.
Love that music. Also, the town of Morrisville will celebrate Diwali, the Indian Festival of Lights. That's tomorrow night from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Everyone is invited to Cedar Fort District Park on Aviation Parkway. Diwali is India's biggest and most important holiday of the year. The celebration includes hands-on activities, music, food, and also fireworks.
A lot of Diwali fun. Tomorrow, people will dress up in their spookiest costumes for the 18th annual Zombie Walk. Invading the streets of downtown Raleigh is where you'll see this. This event starts tomorrow night at 6:45 in Moore Square. For more on these events and others, you can head to WRAL.com and search Out and About.
Well, there may be less chocolate to steal from your kids' trick-or-treat bags this Halloween. Experts say that's because high cocoa prices are driving people to buy more gummy and fruity treats. Market research suggests more teens and middle-aged adults are leaning towards gummy and sour candy because they're less expensive and there's more flavors. The National Retail Federation expects Halloween spending to drop 5% compared to last year.
Appalachian State University will host its first football game since Helene happened. Next Saturday, the Mountaineers will take on Georgia State in Boone as scheduled. That was supposed to be homecoming, but those events, they've had to be postponed until November 23rd. Students return to class on Wednesday.
Cleveland Guardians fans are celebrating a dramatic come-from-behind win over the New York Yankees in Game 3 of the ALCS. With 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, Jhonkensy Noel hit a game-tying pinch-hit home run to send it to extra innings. And then this, bottom of the 10th, David Fry hit a walk-off home run to give Cleveland that 7-5 win. And with the win, the Guardians cut the Yankees' lead in the series to 2-1. Game 4 is tonight in Cleveland.
That stadium is hyped. Michael Keaton is reflecting on his time hosting SNL as he prepares to host tomorrow for the 4th time. His first time was more than 40 years ago, back in 1982. He says the whole experience, it's a lot different than those early days. He says it's a lot more organized nowadays, which gives the cast more time for creativity. Billie Eilish will be his musical guest, and you can tune in. That is tomorrow night at 11:30 p.m. on WRAL.
Oh, he is fantastic. Well, Apple TV Plus is renewing a hit comedy series for the 3rd season. Plus, Jane Fonda receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award, as she should. Here's Ashley Dvorkin with the Hollywood Nation.
Humans lost connection with each other.
Brown's sci-fi adventure, an honor for Fonda, and another season of Shrinking heads to the Hollywood Nation.
I'm not fragile.
Apple TV Plus renewed its comedy Shrinking for a 3rd season, a day after season 2's premiere. The show centers around a grieving therapist breaking the rules, telling clients exactly what he thinks. The streamer announced the renewal at New York Comic-Con, where show creators Jason Segel and Brett Goldstein, along with castmates including Jessica Williams and Krista Miller, joined a special discussion.
So who's got the power in this city?
HBO released a mid-season trailer for The Penguin at New York Comic-Con. The Batman spin-off stars Colin Farrell and Kristen Milioti as Oz and Sophia Falcone. Coming up, the fight for power in the city escalates as Oz declares he's taking back Gotham. The show airs Sundays on HBO and Max. Oscar winner, author, and activist Jane Fonda will receive the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award. Fonda's career has spanned over 50 years with more than 50 films. This past year, she was featured in 4 movies, including Book Club 2 and 80 for Brady. The SAG Awards air live on Netflix February 23rd.
So you want to go get your brother back? I'll go with you.
In today's First Looks, the Russo brothers' latest, The Electric State, starring Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt. The film is set in an alternative 1990s in the aftermath of a robot uprising and follows a girl venturing across the American West in search of her missing brother. It premieres on Netflix March 14th.
A lot of good stuff. That was Ashley Dvorkin reporting.
A big honor for former longtime WRAL News Director Rick Gall. He was celebrated last night with membership into the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Silver Circle. Ceremony was in Nashville, home of the Regional Emmy Awards. Rick was our news director for 19 years before retiring earlier this year. I had the pleasure of working beside him about 3 years. He actually spent 28 years at WRAL overall, starting as the Fayetteville Bureau reporter in the mid-90s. And I tell you that man, he settled for nothing less than excellence. And I was like, I need to grab some of his wisdom and use that in my anchoring reporting. And I'm so very happy that I got to work with him, and congrats to him on that awesome award.
Anybody that knew him was so lucky because he was just simply the best. He was great. We miss Rick.
We do.
All right, well, the first day of the North Carolina State Fair was a big one for WRAL senior producer Kelly Reiner.
The flamingo booties are mine. Oh my gosh. 3 first place ribbons.
Listen, all of us know around here she loves to crochet. She is so talented. She is so good. You can see some of her prize-winning work at the State Fair this year. She actually won 3 blue ribbons this year for her holiday doll named Noelle, her strawberry-themed baby doll outfit, and a pair of flamingo booties. She scored big with a couple of second-place ribbons as well. Go, Kelly. We're so proud of you.
Go, Kelly.